All are welcome to Comrade Media's cultural program in Pursuit of Roots. Now, we are going to have the 15th episode entitled The Port of Kollam and Kollavarsham. Sir, Kollam, I heard so many specialities about Kollam. First of all, let me ask one question. Is there any connection between Kollavarsham and Kollam?
Yes, certainly. Kollavarsham is very much related to Kollam.
The place Kollam.
The place Kollam. The place Kollam of today is different from the Kollam of the yesteryears. It's in the vicinity, but not exactly the same place. About which we can say a little later.
So now you are going to describe Kollam of 9th century.
We are dealing with the Kollam of 9th century. If you want to know about the Kollavarsham, definitely it is 9th
Therefore
century.
you are coming.
Therefore I am coming to the Kollam of 9th century.
Advanced stage. So the last episodes dealt with around 2000 years back history, cultural history of ports and water bodies. Okay, you just...
Kollavarsham is dated back to AD 825. That is
25.
Kollavarsham.
Thus began the Malayalis calendar.
Thus began Malayalis own calendar. Kollavarsham starts with 15th of August 825.
There are also 15th August.
Yeah, that is in Travancore region. It is that region, and in Malabar, Kollavarsham starts a bit later.
Firstly, it is started in
it is related to Nyatuvela. It starts, because of the climatic variation. It starts a little early here in south and a bit later in the north. There is a 1 month difference in original Kollavarsham. Now it is standardized. So Kollavarsham, there are a number of theories.
About the origin of
Kollavarsham. A group of scholars believe that Kollavarsham is related to Udaya Marthanda Varma. Udaya Marthanda Varma was the Venad king. Kollam was the capital of Venad. Venad king, that is the king of Kollam also. Udaya Marthanda Varma called a number of scholars, astrologers, and Brahmin leaders, and wanted to start a new kind of a calculation, new kind of a process, and weights and measurements, and also the other kind of processes related to agriculture, related to all other walks of life.
Not only calendar,
everything. So therefore, everything needed to be brought within a calendar frame. Actually, before that, a number of different calendars have been used. Number of different calendars. Shakavarsham, Saptadi Varsham, Gupta Varsham, all these kinds of Varsham. Varsham means year. Kala Ganana in Malayalam, that is calculation of time. Then it was known in Shakavarsham was calculated, and Saptadi year was very much important for the Brahmins. So there were different kinds of calculation. It was a bit Kalivarsham. Actually, it was something like 3229 year of Kalivarsham. That completed one whole cycle according to Kalivarsham. And once the cycle is complete, people are free to start a new cycle. People argue that it is because of that beginning of it, marked the beginning of a new cycle. Therefore, the scholars were called by Udaya Marthanda Varma, and a new era started. And some believe that it has got everything to do with the beginning of Malayalam language.
Any other calendar existed in Tamilagam, ancient
Yeah,
Tamilagam?
it was ancient Tamilagam was following all these calendars mentioned
Before the
before.
Kollavarsham?
Yeah, that is mainly they were not going by calendar. They go by the ruling year of the Maharaja.
Maharajas. Oh.
The king, in his 10th year, said so, declared, has signed this document, or proclaimed this particular thing, etc., etc. So all major decisions, all proclamations were dated in the dash year. 10th year, 5th year, 7th year, 25th year of the reign of this particular king of this particular land. So that is how, because there was no standardized year applicable throughout Chera kingdom, Chera empire. So Chera, Chola, Pandya empires used Kalivarsham.
Kalivarsham.
And
Kalivarsham,
it started.
any relation between Kali Yugam and Kalivarsham?
It is related to that only. It was all based on celestial cycles. Later, the Greco-Roman influence and the Persian traders who came in the 9th century, especially people like Sabor Isho, who built the Tharishapalli, they came and started a new kind of trading practice.
Which age?
That was around that time, 9th century, early 9th century. Sabor Isho, Mar Sabor, and Mar Proth from West Asia, from Syria. Syria. It was ancient Persia. They call it Persia, Persian Empire.
Persia.
They came with families, and they were traders. They established flourishing trade, and they were looking at the Greek calendar based on celestial formations.
Based on celestial formation.
See, for example, Chingam is Leo. Chingam is Simham. Simham is lion.
Symbol is lion.
Symbol is lion. That is Leo.
Okay.
Kanni.
So unmarried maid.
Yeah, that is the
spinster.
Virgin,
spinster.
That is Virgo.
Okay.
Kanni.
Virgin.
Tulam
is a balance.
So Tula Varsham.
Vrichigam is this what is Scorpion.
Yeah, Scorpion.
That is a symbol.
Mithunam
is a pair.
Gemini.
Good.
Okay. So all these things correspond. Say, look at the Greek calendar and the Malayalam calendar.
Karkidagam is a crab.
Karkidagam is
crab.
So there is a
Meenam is fish.
Meenam is the pisces. That's fish.
Okay.
So
then
all these
Kumbham is
just pot, water. That is
Kumbham. Then Meenam, Kumbham. Idavam is our god.
Right.
Okay.
So all these converge with the Roman and the Greek kind of celestial
all these
formation.
have solid base,
Yeah, that is the base which very many Malayalis do not know.
No.
See, we keep on saying Idavam, Karkadagam without knowing exactly where it came from, how it came from.
This is accurate information. Thank you.
That is how these that the months, it all converge. So that is one logical, because we are looking at logic. See, there is no written document available. But we go by inference, we go by logic. If you ask, bring the information.
Credible inference.
This is credible inference. So that is how history is, historiography happens. That's how history is created. Rather than say, how can we ask people who lived in the past? No, you can't ask.
We cannot
because these documents are all gone.
All documents are not
all
available.
Documents were written on either parchments or on palm leaf. How many years will a palm leaf last? 10 years, 20 years, it will all be disintegrated, termite and this kind of climate. It will ruin the whole thing. Therefore, it is some oral traditions and also these kind of inferences go a long way in establishing the credibility of the information. So that is how. So this is another explanation. Then comes see, this is the, so that is we have dealt with three different versions. Udayamarthanda Varma wanted a new era to be created, and then it was marked with the beginning of a new language called Malayalam to mark language. The beginning, and also the trading people, the Persian traders came, and they came with this wisdom, and they started this thing. But remember, the word Kollavarsham never used that time. AD 825, nobody used the Kollavarsham. It's only 100 years after that. More than 100 years after that,
it came to be
documents started AD, that is Kollavarsham 125, 130, they started using it.
From
Till then, they continued to use the ruling year of the
Kings.
Maharajas. For example, Tarashapalli Shasanam, the copper plate of Tarashapalli. There's something special about Tarashapalli. Although it is given on the 5th year of the reign of the Chera king, Stanu Revi, during the sub-reign of the Venad king Ayyanadigal Thiruvadigal. So the Venad, Kollam was the capital of Venad. Kollam was ruled by Ayyanadigal Thiruvadigal. This copper plate was given to Shabor Isho by the Venad king during the 5th year of the reign of the larger king, bigger king, called Stanu Revi, who was the Chera king. In the year, so it is Chera king Stanu Revi came to the throne in AD 845. 845. So that means 25. It is 5 years. That means, that the 4th year, 5th year, that makes it roughly 849. 844. He came to power in 844. So the 5th year means 849. So that is why Tarashapalli Chepped is the oldest written document available in Kerala now. The most ancient written document, written in ancient Malayalam. That's what and all that. That
so, don't think I am interrupting.
Yeah. No, you are not interrupting. You are inquiring. And,
I want to hear about Thomas Leha. Which period?
Thomas Leha is dated to the 1st century AD. Thomas Leha, Saint Thomas, believed to have come to Kerala. That is in the 1st century. Nazranis,
centuries back,
not in the 9th century, but in the 1st century. In the 4th century, AD 345, Kenai Thomman is believed to have come. Thomman, the trader from West Asia, believed to have come in the 4th century. But we are now talking about Persian migration of the 9th century. That is when Kollam came up in a big way.
This doubt came because Tarashapalli copper plate,
that's in the 9th century.
That is a natural doubt likely to have. Okay. That doubt is clear. Then Kollam was then not a cultural hub but a political capital.
Exactly. Not only a trading center like what we were mentioning, it was a cultural center and a political capital of a number
trade center,
cultural center, and the political capital of so many Maharajas. One such Maharaja is Jayasimhan. That's a later period. The present day Kollam. Now we have a place called Kollam. That's a district called Kollam. The real Kollam is situated a little away from that. Okay, and we'll come to that. Okay. The present day Kollam is traced back to Deshinganad. The capital of Deshinganad. Deshinganad received the name because of Jayasimhan. The king of Kollam was called Jayasimhan. Jayasimhan ruled Jayasimhanada. That became Deshinganada. That is the present day Kollam. But the Kollam of our consideration is called Kurakeni Kollam.
But now a place is even now called Deshinganad in Kollam district. In Kollam,
Certainly. It is still called Deshinganad.
a little place is
A little called Deshinganad. That was the time.
Okay.
So before Kollam, before Deshinganad, Kollam was the capital of Wayanad.
Wayanad.
So Wayanad, it was the capital of Wayanad. So it was the capital of Ayyanadigal Thiruvadigal, who gave the Chepped, who gave the copper plate.
Copper plate.
Even before that, Kollam was part of a number of kingdoms. But later, Cherans from Kodungalur, from Muziris, that is Mahodepuram, about which we dealt earlier in an earlier episode.
Okay.
The Chera capital was shifted to Kollam by AD 1095. So the 11th and 12th century, the juncture between 11th and 12th century, the entire Chera kingdom was administered from Kollam. Rama Kulashekaran, the Maharaja, the Chera king, the Kulashekara king, the second Chera dynasty is called Kulashekara. Mahodepuram Cheran. That is also called Kulashekaran. Kulashekarans moved from Muchiripattanam, that is Kodungalur, to Kollam. Because there was a 100-year war between Chola, 100-year war. 100-year war between Chola and Chera. It was not an active war. On and off they clashed for supremacy in this part of Kerala. In the southern part of Kerala, the two dynasties, the Cholas and the Cheras, clashed with one another. The Cholas attacked from two flanks, through the land and also by the sea. Muziris, that is Kodungalur, came under Chola attack. And Kollam also came under Chola attack. So for strategic importance, it was moved from Kodungalur to Kollam. Because the Cholans captured Vizhinjam. Vizhinjam was the capital of the Ai kingdom, which was gobbled up by the Cholas. So we needed, that Chera kingdom needed a capital, an administrative center closer to Vizhinjam. So Muziris is far away. Far away. So you can't afford to have a capital of Chera kingdom far away from the Chola heartland. Therefore, capital was moved to Kollam, and Cherans defeated the Cholans with the help of Chaver. Suicide fighters. So it was a kind of suicide fighting, all out war. Ultimately, Cherans established their control over this land called present day Kerala, and subsequently disintegrated. And it just dissolved into oblivion. And then came the era of Swarupam. New capital. Then Kollam was another one, Swarupam, all these areas became, that history is different.
A strong trade existed here between China and Kollam, I heard.
Absolutely. Kollam is famous for Chinese trade. So look at
no other part of Kerala is so intimate to China.
No other part is so intimate to China.
Okay.
See, look, the epic Manipravalam, that is Manipravalam Sandesha Kavyam, called Unna Neeli Sandesham, starts with the wording Chongum Champraniyam Vana Nal. Chunk is junk. Junk means huge. Chinese ships were called junk. Chinese ships were originally called junk. Champrani is the Arab ship. Chonadan is the Chola ships. All these ships, the Arab ships, the Chinese ships, and the Chola ships thronged the Kollam port. So Kollam was flourishing center according to Unnaneeli Sandesham of the 13th century. So that is the one thing. Even before that, there are a number of descriptions about Chinese trade. Even now we have a trace of it. Chinnakada is the market. China Kada
came to be.
China pottery, China clay, China Kada,
China chatti,
China Vala, China Bharani. See, pot, the China pot, China chatti. Chinese net, Chinavala.
These things were mostly used by Kollam people.
They were imported to Kollam, China clay.
From Kollam, it's
From
spread.
Kollam through the waterways and through the land routes, it reached other
Others
portions.
are also using.
Right.
Like, all these things came first in Kollam.
All these things first in Kollam, in the sense that Chinese trade with the West Asia.
So there is a very strong relation between China and Kollam.
There
Even
is a
before
strong-
the communist link of
Oh,
later
very much,
years.
very much, very much, very much.
Only
There is-
after that communist link came.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Actually, Chinese had two routes to reach Mediterranean region.
Oh.
One was the Silk route by the land
Oh.
on top of Himalayas,
Ah.
further north of Himalayas, all the way to West Asia by land,
By land.
by caravan. The other route was through the sea,
Oh.
and Kollam is the exact midpoint,
Midpoint.
strategically located port
Ah.
between Chinese ports and Arab West Asian
West
ports
Asian.
and Middle Eastern ports.
Arabians also had
Arabs also.
trade with it. Kollam.
Arabs would come all the way to Kollam.
Oh.
And
so they
sell.
also had strong trade relation.
They
with
had
Kollam.
strong trade relations with Kollam.
Kollam.
Jonakapuram is a place in Jonaka is
Jonakapuram. Jonakapuram
Jonakapuram is Kollam. It's in Kollam.
That place is there now.
It is exactly that
Jonakapuram.
place. That place, the present day Jonakapuram in Kollam, it is near Tangasheri.
Tangasheri.
That is the area which is the olden day Kollam port.
Kollam port.
That is the outside Kollam port. Actually, there were two pieces of land jutting out into sea. That's why it is called Kurakeni. It's like an eni. It's like a ladder.
Right.
We call it Kurakeni.
Eni.
Eni is the ladder.
Oh.
We call it Kurakeni because of two reasons. One, Kuraka means the twisted and twirled and round and just complicated kind of network of canals. It's called Kurak. Kurak is the rounded.
Maybe it's something
Yeah,
like
that kind of a waterway.
Something like a kuriku.
Kurik. That is Kurak.
Kurik.
That is Kurik. Kurik is the knot.
Oh,
It's the knot. Kurak. Eni is
Ladder.
ladder. It is actually not the ladder that goes up, the ladder that goes into the sea.
Parallel way.
Parallel way. There were two ladders jutting out into the sea. The northern ladder is called the Tangasheri ladder, and the southern ladder is called the Varkala ladder.
Varkala ladder.
Varkala ladder. And between Tangasheri ladder and Varkala ladder, sea was very calm and composed sea waters. And also, the depth of the sea was very good, so that the ships could anchor very much.
Not shallow.
Not shallow. Therefore, the outer port was ideally located in the Tangasheri region, that is the Jonakapuram region of the present day Kollam. So that is the inference. But ships would come inside also. Junk had flashed out.
Came back. Okay.
See, near the present day
Junk and
Junk is huge.
Chunk.
Chunk is junk.
Ships.
Chunk is also called junk.
Junk
is the Malayalam Tamil version of junk.
Junk.
Chinese used to call it maybe junk. So we call it chunk.
Chunk and
Chambrani and Chonada.
Chambarani.
Chambrani is the pointed bottom. And Chonada also had a pointed bottom. Although they were not so big, they could not get into the inland waters of Ashnapudi Lake. See, remember, Kollam is the trading hub not because of any other specialty, but because of the strategic location.
The
Topography is ideally suited. Land is ideally suited, and the waterways are ideally suited, and more importantly, the lake Ashtamudi.
Providing a good landscape.
Ashtamudi Lake is a huge lake that connects with the inland waters. That is the Kallada river, and all these small time rivers bring water to Ashtamudi Lake. So through these inland waters, the goods that come to Kollam can reach any eastern hills along the waters. Therefore, Ashtamudi, these big ships can come inside the wedge We call it
Ajimukham.
Estuary. Estuaries can get inside. That is possibly and positively very close to present day Nindakara. Some even argue that it was further north near Karunagapalli. Kollaga, Karunagapalli. So that is region, but it's likely that it is closer to the present day Nindagara, if not the Nindagara estuary. The flat bottomed chunk, although it is huge, these ships can come kilometers into the waters of Ashtamudi Lake. So the real Kollam and the Panankavil Palace, where the king was seated, is located. There is a kota, there is a fort, and Panankavil Palace, where Tharishapalli Shepherd is given away in Panankavil Kottaram Palace. So that was strategic location. Kollam was ideal location.
Then what about the travelers, ancient travelers who came to Kollam and wrote anything about Kollam?
So many travelers, a number of travelers.
Chinese?
Of course, the Chinese were there.
By the by, one question. Any meaning of Jonaga etymology?
Jonaka is Arab.
Oh, just like Yavana of Greek.
Jonaka Kudre Chonat Vital Anayachurairam Enikilabham. This is the Malayalam saying those days. Jonaka Kudra means the Arab horse. Arabic Kudra. There is a saying in Malayalam called Kudra Kachavadam. In English we call it horse trading. Horse trading means, making a killing, making huge profit by trade is called horse trading originally. Now it is political horse trading. The meaning has changed.
We can see.
The meaning has changed. So that means, one horse being brought from Arab land into the Chera port of Kollam. Then this horse will fetch much higher prices in Chola kingdom, and that's Chonad. Chonad Vital. If you sell that horse in Chonad, that is in Chola kingdom, you get 10 times profit. Anayach, that is means, that is the measurement. Huge profit you can make is the old saying. So it is Jonakam is certainly it is Arab. So there was flourishing Arab trade. And you're talking about, you're asking me about the evidence, the proof about Kollam. By travelers, by historians. Of course, documented evidence by, first one was Cosmos Indicoplutus.
Already indicated.
Yeah, that was indicated. That was, he talks about Malay, where black gold, pepper is grown. That is in 6th century, that's the earliest. That he doesn't mention Kollam, but by all likelihood it can be Kollam. The other thing is Sulaiman, who came in AD 851 to Kollam. He specifically states Kollam, Kurakeni Kollam. That is the time when he hinted about larger number of Chinese ships being spotted in Kollam port. That is the accounts of Sulaiman, who was an Arab Muslim traveler. Then came Marco Polo, is a Venetian, Italian. He came from China. He was traveling between China and the Roman regions. Actually, it was believed that Marco Polo was looking for a bride for a Chinese emperor from West Asia.
In search
of a bride, he was traveling. In between, he anchored at various ports in India. He gave an account of Indian ports, including Kollam. That is the Marco Polo's account. And then Ibn Battuta, a Moroccan, that's North Africa, Moroccan Arab traveler, also talks about number of ships anchored in Kollam, that mostly China. So the Chinese ships and Chinese trade well established by the documents of Sulaiman, Marco Polo, and also the Ibn Battuta. All these travelers, and also the Christian theologians and travelers like John Marignelli, call it Marignoli, Italian, Italian priest John Marignoli came and also explained about Kollam. So Kollam is a Christian center also. Persian Nestorian Christian center and also the Latin Catholic center and also original inhabitants. Muslims. Also Kollam was very much cosmopolitan. It is the cosmopolitan nature of Kollam port. That makes it so special. So that makes it very, very special.
Special about Kollam land, waters, everything about Kollam.
Good land, fertile land, well connected water. Those days it was only waterways.
Maybe because of this, a lot of proverbs exist. About
Number of proverbs
about Kollam.
You know, Kollam is comparatively a better place. Kollatte pappadam, nalla pappadam. The pappadam, the pepper.
There is a rhythm of a chant.
That when the drum beats go like this, kollatte pappadam, nalla pappadam. Okay, it rhymes with the drum beats, and that's one thing. Then Kollam kandavan illam venda. If you see Kollam, if you watch Kollam, if you are in Kollam, we happen to be settling down in Kollam for some time, then you don't want illam home. You will even forget about your wife and children at home. Kollam kandavan illam venda. If you give one hit, then you get one back from Kollam. Or if you give 100 rupees or something, some donation or some charity, then you get it back also.
So that's Kollam, a good sense also.
It's a good sense also, it's a bad sense also. Kollam kandavan illam venda, koduttal kollatham kittum. There's also an evil saying. Kondan kollathu poyathu pole. If a fool goes to Kollam, as if a fool goes to Kollam,
he is forgetting everything.
He forgets everything.
Returning without his mission.
Yeah, even without wow, what a great place, Kollam.
Why he came there, he does not know.
He does not know why he came there. So there are a number of proverbs you can link with Kollam. Right?
Okay. So, very good. So, we got very valuable and curious, interesting details about Kollam from our professor, Dr. Mohan Varughese. Very thanks, sir. Very thanks.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you all.